Recovery, the new four-letter word when it comes to our economy and for Democrats running for re-election. It apparently is. Top Democratic strategists James Carville and Stan Greenberg putting out the memo to fellow Democrats. Stay away from the word recovery because people are still feeling lousy, still hurting. So what does this say about the real state of our economy? Hi everyone, I'm Brenda Butner. This is Bulls and Bears. Here they are, the Bulls and Bears this week. Gary B. Smith, Tracy Burns, Jonas Max Ferris, John Layfield, along with Emily Tish Sussman. Welcome to everybody. Okay, so Gary B., what's the message Ixnay on the recovery ray sending?
Well, it sounds like the left is finally getting the message, and they're being honest that this recovery is horrible. It's the anti-recovery. Look, I think the economy rests on three pillars. One is employment. Two is median income, three are housing prices. So if we take a look at each of them, if we look at the total unemployment, that U6 number we talk about, that's up since Obama took office from 9 to 12%. If we look at the median income, that is down even since the end of the recession. And if we look at housing prices, they're also down since Obama took office. So you have these three pillars, all of which are negative. I think the Democrats are right in staying away from any kind of use of the word recovery.
Jonas, you agree we're not in a recovery?
No, we've recovered. I think that's one reason to back off the term. Look, there's more job openings we just heard since '08. Like, there's not going to get a whole lot more job creation or available jobs than we have right now. And this, I don't want to say it's as good as it's going to get because the economy is going to keep growing, but whoever currently feels bad is going to keep feeling bad because that's the way the labor force works now. The kind of jobs are the kind of companies that are starting up don't need as many employees. They're pushing people out. They're outsourcing. So politicians both have to either blame each other for why these people are in this state, but the bottom line, that's the result of this modern economy, and it's not going to get a whole lot better. And it's not a bad recovery. Every data point is better than it was 6 years ago.
Okay, Tracy's shaking her head.
I mean, but to Gary's point, think about how many people are receiving welfare checks now since the Obama administration took office. So that's why people are still hurting. I think the Democrats are right to stay away from the word because they have not recovered at all. They're probably worse off than when we started. I will agree with you, Jonas. I do think that there are a fair amount of people that are on their way out and feeling better. But take a look at retail sales. They haven't bounced back by any stretch. And take a look at the amount of lower income people that are still in this spiral. And at this point, they're not getting out anytime soon.
Okay, Emily, why do you think Democrats are being advised not to use the word recovery?
Sure. The recovery has primarily been at the top, and it has been for Wall Street. It has been for businesses. People are not necessarily feeling it on Main Street or maybe in their household budget. So, they don't want to hear either elected officials or people who are running for office. They don't want to hear people tell them that they should be feeling it. And I think that's why Democrats are moving towards a message and towards policies that will actually help people, like raising the minimum wage. That is something people can connect with. It is money that goes from their pockets straight into local economies. That is a much stronger message and policy for working people.
Well, we've had a Democrat in the White House for 8 years now.
Well, I think we haven't gotten quite to 8 years there. But look, there's been a lot of uncertainty. There's been a lot of disagreement, mostly because the Republicans that are controlling the House do not want to bring a jobs bill to the floor. They do not want to bring up infrastructure that puts people to work during recoveries and during recessions. These are things that could be creating jobs, but none of these are coming to the floor.
Okay, I got to get John Layfield in here. What do you say?
Look, I'm sorry, but with all due respect, that's absolutely preposterous. Look, the fact that they're discussing how to spin this tells you they have no ideas. Look, their message has been wrong. They said, give us $1 trillion, we'll never go over 8% unemployment. We're not going to let Detroit go bankrupt. Give us tens of billions of dollars. We're going to bail out GM. GM went bankrupt. All that money went to the unions, and GM still went through bankruptcy, and now is still having problems. They're arguing about message. They're not arguing about any type of method to create jobs. This, to me, is the most reprehensible politics there is because you're not doing anything for America. All you're trying to do is get reelected. And the Republicans on the other side, they're doing the exact same thing. We're going to get nothing done going up to midterm elections.
But, Gary B., the message really matters, doesn't it? I mean, we were supposed to come out of a recession and in a recovery. It's been tepid at best, and now Democrats can't even say it's a recovery.
Well, I think Emily is starting to show what the message is going to be. It's somehow going to be blame this on the rich, I guess, is one part of it. Two, we haven't done enough for the poor by raising minimum wage, which isn't going to affect anything. And somehow Republicans in the House have blocked this jobs bill, which, by the way, I thought the Recovery Act was going to be this jobs bill and the stimulus that I guess those trillions of dollars have gone, I don't know, elsewhere. And by the way, even if some jobs bill miraculously came about, what is it going to do? The government doesn't create jobs. They move assets from one group to another. So I think if Emily is foreshadowing what the message is going to be, it's going to be a pretty darn weak message.
Well, it's class politics too, isn't it, Tracy? I mean,
is.
She says that basically it's all happening at the top.
And shame on them for keeping all their hard-earned money. What are they thinking? And look, to John's point about the administration doing nothing, we just hear on Friday that they're pushing off the vote for the Keystone Pipeline. So throw those jobs out the window too till after the election, because everyone just wants to get back in office so they can get free lunches in downtown D.C. I think that this all comes down to the way our political system is run. Nothing is going to be done. And unfortunately, everything that the Obama administration tried to do for the middle class has done nothing but hurt it.
Emily?
Look, there is a fair amount of frustration out there, but I think there's a very big difference between blaming the rich and people feeling frustration. People feel like the system is rigged against them. And this is a lot about, if people are holding their politicians accountable with their vote, but a lot of the times they don't even show up anymore because they feel like there's no point in it. But when they start to see policies that actually bring money into their pockets, into their local economies, and may even, we would argue, be good for the economy on the whole, like raising the minimum wage, then people can actually see things that help them, that affect their lives.
Well, Jonas, haven't the Democrats had a chance to do that?
They did, but so have Republicans before that. There's a certain group that's basically pushed out of the economy, and they're not going to get jobs at Google because there's a good lower taxes or because there's a higher minimum wage. These solutions by both sides are not going to employ these people at this point. So both parties are going to try to blame people who are angry at their station in the economy on the other's policies. But I don't see how either policy is going to fix these problems that are kind of structural right now.
Gary B., you agree?
Well, yes, I do, for once, with Jonas. I think he makes some good points in this case. But I want to go back to something Emily said. She kind of whipped through this. The system is rigged for the rich and against the poor. I'd like to know how the system exactly is rigged for these rich fat cats that are on the Monopoly board cover walking around with a top hat. I mean, the rich pay more taxes. They work. I want to know. That's always the flipped off phrase. It's rigged. I want to know specifically how it's rigged.
Well, that is an R word that you can use, apparently. Rich, not recovery. Emily, go ahead and answer.
Yeah, no, people feel it. Time and time again, we hear this all over the country.
I know they feel it, but
people
how
feel,
specifically
they absolutely do feel it? Well, I think we need to look no further than Supreme Court decision of the last week with the McCutcheon case, that now there can just be, someone who can contribute with their free speech and their strong voice of dollars. They can contribute to every campaign all over the country if they like to.
Right.
If a politician is looking to...
What, you mean like unions contribute now, that they're the biggest contributors?
Look, if you're a politician and you're going to make policy, are you going to look to gather every one by one small dollar or one vote at a time? Or are you going to look to a Sheldon Adelson who can independently fund anything that the party could ever do on top of that?
Tracy, last word quickly.
I mean, talk about rigged. If it was so rigged, why is everyone online for these welfare checks then? Who's it rigged towards? Why do we have an income tax credit? Why do we do all this then?
John,
and I tell you how you turn to politics. You put it on the minimum wage, which does very little to take people out of poverty. It's all about the rich. Let's just help the minimum wage. Don't create jobs. Don't do anything to actually help the economy. Let's just have this corporations with large amounts of money hire people they don't need.
Okay.
That was your last jobs plan.
All right, thank you. And you out there can jump into this debate, #Bulls and Bears.